Hello and welcome back to Shelf Centered. I have new equipment again and life is good. I just have to deal with me bouncing around the screen instead of the whole screen bouncing while I bounce. Gosh, I don't even know how anyone watched that video. It's about time. I have been long overdue, and this is why this is a huge book haul for me, but it is book haul time. Book haul time. So we're just going to jump right into the books. As usual, we got to talk Kindle Books. I have zero numbers to back this up, but maybe Kindle Books outsell physical books. I'm guessing they might, especially with all the deals you get. And that's half of why I have a ridiculous TBR on my Kindle. All right, first Kindle book, we've got Season of Kings. This was one picked up. It was a good deal, and I couldn't resist. It's getting lots of good press lately, and so check it out if you haven't already. Next up is Wrathbringer by Christopher Brenning, and this is the sequel to The Hellborn King, which I read earlier this year, and it was amazing. So of course I picked up Wrathbringer as soon as I could, and we'll see if we get an audiobook. I may have to pick that one up if it does come out, but I know how expensive that whole process is. It's rough. Then we're looking at In the Orbit of Sirens by T.A. Bruno. This is a series. I got the sequel book, book 2, on Audible from the author. He was giving away codes, and so well, I mean, he kind of forced my hand here, and then I had to buy the first book. So I hear from good sources like Andrew's Wizardly Reads that that's a really good one to go with, and I'm excited to read that book. Then I got The Skin by J.E. Hannaford. Again, just a good, it was a good deal, and I think it's because the sequel is coming out here, so I couldn't resist. My good friend, who shall not be named, but whose name starts with the same letter as my name, was a big fan of this, and so I'm excited because I think there's some good stuff going on there, and I'm really looking forward to it. Finally, I got An Altar on the Village Green by Nathan Hall. This one is just, Nathan Hall is just a kind, nice person on the internet, on Twitter. And so because of that pleasant interaction that I've had, well, you better believe I'm going to go buy your book because that's what happens. That's the way to do it, even though it's the long way. It's the hard way. It's the long way to do it instead of just trying to plaster your book everywhere. Which just I can't imagine works all too well, and throw your book at people without actually ever getting to know them. I know, but it's the only way that really works for me. All right, switching tacks here. We're going with the audiobooks. There was an Audible sale. I can only be expected to do so much. So I am only human, and here we are. And then there was a 2-for-1 sale, so then I added, like, literally just today, the day of filming this, I added a couple more. I don't think I'm posting this right away, so it is most likely not going to be available by the time I actually show this. All right, so jumping into the audiobooks, there were a couple Brandon Sanderson. They're just a good deal here. Cytonic and Starsight. This is, they actually already own, I think it's like Skyward, maybe something like that. Now I'm like, is it Zelda? Am I just saying Zelda terms? I don't know anymore. Skyward Sword. But that's essentially Brandon Sanderson's newer sci-fi series that I'm looking forward to reading. And now I have all of them because they were a super good deal. Again, I'm only human. Next, I bought up the entirety of Steven Erikson's Star Trek type series. It's like a parody of Star Trek. I tried Willful Child ages ago, and I was never really a Star Trek fan, so I think that's part of the problem. But I figured maybe on audiobook I could give it a go and see how that works for me. Willful Child, The Search for Spark, and then Willful Child, Wrath of Betty. So those are the 3. I'm excited because I know how much I love Steven Erikson's sense of humor in the Malazan series, so it's got to translate here too, right? All right, then I got Gates of Fire by Stephen Pressfield. I realized it's here on this shelf. It's this book right here, but I got it on audiobook just because it was like really cheap. And let's be honest, there's much more likelihood that I'll be reading the audiobook much sooner than I will this. I hear lots of good things. It's technically not fantasy. It is like the telling of the Battle of Thermopylae, the 300 and all that, and the Spartans and all that. But I hear Pressfield is like one of the best. I think Patrick Leo, I want to say, is a big fan of Pressfield and some of his other books. But I will have to double check on that. All right, then I got Evil is a Matter of Perspective. It's an anthology, kind of with that. That's the theme. Everybody's like, evil is I think from like the villain's point of view. But it has a couple of my favorite authors. Courtney Schaefer has a short story from the Shattered Sigil series. Adrian Tchaikovsky, I have not read him actually, but he's a favorite of many people who are favorites of mine. That counts, right? But lots of other good authors. Had to go get that, and it was, again, good deal. I got The Hero with 1,000 Faces by Joseph Campbell. This is just kind of, it can be related. I mean, that's essentially what it's saying is like there's like kind of one major story, and it's what a lot of stories follow, even fantasy books, so it kind of ties in. But I've always been curious. I know Dan Harmon kind of uses some of this. I think the Campbell kind of method, the circle and all that. I can look it up. But Harmon's just, if you know me, if you've seen my shirts, my community shirt, now I'm repping the Avalanche because we're starting the season again. But Dan Harmon's a big fan, and so I wanted to check that out. All right, then I got The Islanders by Christopher Priest. I was a huge fan of The Prestige, and I have a copy of The Islanders. This is what I do now, is I just get the audiobooks for the books I already own, and then I actually read them. So it's amazing. It used to not be this way, but man, this is how it is for me now. Then I got The Lesser Devil by Chris Verrocchio. This is the short story collection from the Sun Eater series. That's a series I need to jump back onto. I've let too many things get in the way. It was almost like I started another series when I really shouldn't have, and so I've been trying to like finish other series before I continue on with that, and now it's been too long, and I probably need to reread even. All right, then I got Perfect State by Brandon Sanderson. That is a short story in the Cosmere. Again, it was very cheap. All right, then I got Time Siege. This is by Wesley Chu. Big fan. He has this series, all I can think is The Rise of Io. The Lives of Tau, essentially, this kind of like alien race, kind of can inhabit people alongside them and kind of help them out with all their kind of like knowledge from thousands of years. And it's a really cool series, but this is different. Time Siege is the sequel to the book that I'm Time Guys. Hey, Time Guys, look at me. I'm a time guy. It's something that I cannot remember, but I liked it. And so this is the sequel, and I want to read it. So there we go. Then I got Columbus Day by Craig Allenson. This is one it was on the like the Audible collections or whatever you can do. What's funny is I got this, it just kind of was like, oh, it looks good, and it's free. It was completely free to Audible members. And so, but literally like the next day I got a comment from someone on a video recommending the series. So I was like, great, okay, that's definitely jumped that up onto my list. All right, then the other day I was like, you know what I need to do? I need to get a Janny Wirtz book. This is the only Janny Wirtz book in The Wars of Light and Shadow. There are others there are other audiobooks of her other series, but in The Wars of Light and Shadow, there is only one audiobook, and it's of book 10 for some reason, which is really frustrating to me. But I got Destiny's Conflict. I was like, why not? I've had too many times where I've had a book on my watch list where I've been like, or my wish list, and it just suddenly goes out of, it's just like no longer being sold, and you can't find it anywhere. So I decided to actually just use a credit and get it done. So now I have it. I don't know why it's taken me this long to learn these lessons. Then, like I said, then there's like a 2-for-1 sale day today. And so what is the guy gonna do? I got me a copy of Use of Weapons by Ian M. Banks. And then I also got All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This is a series that it just made sense for a 2-for-1 sale. I just have a hard time spending a whole credit on a novella. And even buying like the actual novellas to actually go get them in the store, they're like hardcover and they're like $20 or $25 or something like that. I don't know what the deal is. I know they're very popular and I guess maybe that's it. And it's like, hey, we like money. So, but anyway, this one made sense. Hey, it's in a 2-for-1 deal. Boom, did it. It's done. All right, now for the fun, the best part, right? The physical books. So I had some fun with some physical books and I got me some more. Speaking of Janny Wirtz, I just found these and I had to grab them. But I got, because I don't actually own them yet, and now I do, Trader's Knot. Make that out here. There we go. Trader's Knot, Stormed Fortress, and then Initiate's Trial. So this is 9, 8, and 7 of the Wars of Light and Shadow. I actually already have this one, but the thing is, it's a nice signed copy of an advanced reading copy from Janny Wirtz herself. So like, I'm gonna actually read that one? No way, that's insane. No, that one is my precious, and I am keeping it that way. Keeping it nice and pristine. Speaking of my precious, what a segue. I found for very cheap at the library a copy of the illustrated editions of The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. They had covers on them. They were falling apart. It was bad. They look so much better with the naked hardcover. I couldn't resist. And now what do? I own 3, 4 versions of The Lord of the Rings. So that's how I am. And I'm pretty sure I'm actually, for a Lord of the Rings fan, I think that's on the like lighter end, which is crazy. So no, maybe it's 3. 3 copies, 3 different copies. Anyway, that's how it is, because that's how we roll. And then finally, if you didn't see this the other day when I posted it, because it got its own video, that's how special this one is. But it is technically was in this book haul time period. I got me my copy of Gardens of the Moon, the Subterranean Press version. This was a 2nd edition run. Look at the beautiful gold foil. Look at that over the pages. It's beautiful. And I just love it. It's my favorite cover of all time. Worth every penny. And it was a lot of pennies. But man, it is, I just love it. So that's it. That is my book haul for this couple of months. I think it's been a while. How do you like the new setup or the new lighting? I feel like a lot better with it. It just seems a lot more stable, a lot better. The background could use some work, I know. But anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. And don't forget to do so if you haven't already. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.